So number one basic is your simple strafe jump. I'm pretty sure most of you probably know this, but when you're moving and you want to do a strafe, like an air strafe, you let go of W and S, all right? You never use your forward and backwards movement. So what I end up doing is I usually move diagonally, and as soon as I jump, I move my mouse right and hold D. Or if I'm going from the left, I move diagonally, and when I move my mouse left and then go hold A. Sorry, this one was right. I don't know why I said left. So it looks something like this. And you see how he hits a B hop after? So that's how you do that. And that's what you'll see me do in most games, where like I'm hopping from Tetris to stairs or stairs to Tetris. Just like that. And what that allows you to, it allows you to jump farther, which means that you're not going to be like stuck like deep for as long. Because most players will just jump across like this and they'll be stuck here in this like really awkward spot where like you have to swing into them and you're going to have conventional movement, right? So if you swing into them like this, they're going to be expecting this because their crosshairs are going to be looking like something like this. And all I have to do is just shoot you like that, and it's over. But if you B-hop across, I don't know how to describe it. But if you already have your gun out, like let's take your gun out mid-jump, and it's like you're gonna hop over their initial spray. Because once you land, you're perfectly accurate. So as soon as you land, it's accurate. Hold on. Yeah. Like that. And it's like just the easiest skill ever. So it's like small things like that, right? Or like if you're peeking something, you always want to be moving in the most unpredictable fashion ever. So if you're just simply on the ground, this is why I crouch peek a lot. It's because most of the time people don't expect the crouch peek. They'll be shooting right over you. So I guess it's the basics of movement. Other than that, when you're going up ladders, there's a faster way to go up ladders. This is probably pretty obvious. A lot of you already know this. Instead of just holding W straight up, look diagonally and then move diagonally. So if you're looking to the right, you hold W and A. And you see how much faster that is? Or if you go looking to the left, you hold W and D. How much faster that is? So this is normal speed, and this is diagonal speed. I don't know why it does that, but it just is. I don't know why it's a thing, but it just is. And when you're coming off the ladder, obviously you don't want to go straight up, or else you get caught on top of the ladder and you can't shoot while up here. See? You can't shoot while on it. So what you always want to do is whenever you come up off a ladder, you want to strafe. You want to strafe away from it. So something like this, right? So now you're on flat ground and you can just shoot. You'll see a lot of players mess this up by jumping straight to the top, and they just get stuck here and they'll just start shooting you and trying to shoot you. Like from here. I guess it is still kind of accurate, but it's like kind of RNG because you come up straight off the top. Sometimes you try to like crouch kick them, or like small things can happen where you get caught. So it's better just to play it safe and just strafe to a safe area before taking that fight. What else should you guys know about movements? Ledge hopping. Ledge hopping, a lot of people like try to do it all the time. Or like, a lot of people mess it up the first few times. A good rule of thumb when you're ledge hopping is you see how like right about here, the tip of my knife, you see how like the butt of my knife is hitting it? On a regular knife, how do I show that? Okay. Melee. Place for CT and then kill. I'll show you what I'm talking about. A good rule of thumb. Oh my god. Like my knuckles, like the butt of my hand, right? Like the butt of my hand, if I'm looking just straight head level, the butt of my hand should always like be aligned with whatever ledge it is, and this tells you that you can jump up. So then you just hold crouch, you just jump and hold crouch at the same time. So if I go up, and obviously most of the time you have your gun out, so like wherever the charging handle is, right? Wherever the top rightmost part of the gun. So like from right here, you can jump. And from right here, you can jump. So that's how I do it inside of a smoke, because usually when you're inside of a smoke, you'll be able to see the edge. So like usually here's where the smoke is. So like right here, and you can memorize in the top on the minimap too. So like right here, you'll be able to jump. So now if you memorize on the minimap, I guess it'll be right here about, right before you hit that ledge and you can jump up. A lot of this is just map knowledge, but it's also like this works on any map. If you're trying to hop up on the ledge silently, without like being like, let's say you're right here and you just try to jump up. I guess I didn't make noise, but most players, oh, I guess it doesn't make noise, my bad. You can jump up from here too, but you also want to get up as early as possible, I guess. That's why people do it this way. Or at least not people do it this way, what most high level players would do it. How most high level players do it. Because you want to get up on the ledge as fast as possible. Because you don't want to be in like these dead zones. Because you see right here, if you come up here, you're exposed to stairs and ticket at the same time. But if I come up here as fast as possible, so it's like right here, you hop up and you're not exposed to the ticket anymore from here. But if you wanted to jump up from here, you'd have to like jump up through here and you get seen. And it's like just a whole mess. That. What else do you need to know? I guess these are like simple, like small tips and tricks that you can do to like improve your game just slightly. It's not going to be a huge improvement, but it's like these small little tips that can save your life sometimes. Okay, I can't see my looking knife. What else would you guys need to know? What else? I guess right here too is like a simple rule of thumb. Some of these things you can't jump on because it's not at that ledge. But like right here, it's like well within your grasp because you can see how it's like way under you, the butt of your hand. So that's how you can tell how you can jump onto things. So you don't like randomly start jumping, like trying to get on things. Like right here, you obviously can't. But a lot of people like these type of things, they'll still try it anyway. They just start making noise and it gives you away. So like if you're trying to be silent, you don't know if you can do it or not. Especially on newer maps where like you're trying to learn a new map, to know whether or not you can do something, you can just use like these simple guidelines. So a lot of people sometimes they'll like try to get up like from this side because they know that you can jump on this wheel, right? But you can't jump up on this side. But some newer players, for some reason, they think they can jump up on this side too. Oh, I guess you can. Wow. On New Mirage you can't. Old Mirage you can. New Mirage or Old Mirage you can. New Mirage you can't. So here you wouldn't be able to usually. But that's because the wheel, the whole cart is like way higher than you. What else? Window jump from middle. I can try that. I know how to do it, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't really do it that often. So I'm not that good at it, but I know how to. So to start the window jump, you come up to this ledge. You line up like this, like way off the edge. So you see how like you can, it's like right here, where you can still sort of jump up, but you won't hit your head on the top. So then you strafe out. I hit my head. Fuck. But you guys get the general. I think you guys get the general thing, just the general message of it. Oh, there you go. So that's how you do it. So right as you're about to like, right as your feet hit the edge. Oh fuck. I don't know how to. It's like a lot of this is just like feel for the game. Just like after a while of playing the game, you just realize like where your body is, and you have that like slight spatial awareness. You have that spatial awareness. So it's like right as you start seeing the ground like that. Right as you're sort of like floating, right? So right as you start to feel yourself be like floating, you jump, and usually you should be able to make it. So, so right as I'm feeling like I'm floating. Oh. Yeah, I didn't strafe. But yeah, that's usually just how you do it. That's how you do any type of edge jump from anywhere. Is when you start to feel yourself floating. That way you can make like maximum distance I don't know if that makes sense. So like same thing with this palace jump. As soon as you feel yourself floating is when you jump. And that's how you push palace fast. As soon as you feel yourself jumping or floating, you jump through. Alright, you can't make that one. But yeah, that's how you do edge jumps. As soon as you start to feel yourself floating, so like right here. Oh. Right here. This is when you jump. So if let's say there's like an imaginary edge here, you jump from here. There's that moment when you jump. A lot of players, like, they get antsy or they get anxious and they try to jump way too early. So like right here, when they're still on the platform, you're never gonna make it. You'll never make that jump. So floating. Oh, did it too late. Yeah. And that's movement guide. And I guess I can cover angle clearing as well while we're at it, because we might as well, right? Let's add a bit of bonus in. I'll teach you guys how to clear angles. Or I guess not really clear angles, but clear spaces. Because angles is like a really like niche thing, and a lot of the times what will happen is that there's like spaces without any like clear cut angles. Rule number 1, angle advantage. I think most people know this by now. Most like experienced shooter players would know this, but there are still people that don't, so I'll just go over it. Always attack an angle from as far as possible. So if you see me, whenever you see me playing, I'll always be hugging like the farthest wall while keeping my crosshair on here. What this does is it limits the amount of one mathematically, the closer you are to an angle, the less you can see, but they'll still be able to see you. So like right here, the guy on cat, like that's standing right here, will be able to see half my body. But if I were back here, you can see that I'll actually see it. Like it's the same thing. I'm just moving straight back and forth. See here, I can't see cat. Here, oh shit, I touched A out of instinct. And then here I can see cat, like sort of. I accidentally hit the wall, and I slid a little bit to the right, but you can see that I can see cat. And it's like, yeah, it's like a small gap, like it's a really small thing, but then in an actual, like as you get higher elo, you'll start to realize that even the smallest things, like they matter. So like I can see this gap now, and that means that like I'll be able to see him and then react. Like obviously I'll probably swing past it, but I'll still like have that time to like recognize that he's there and react, instead of like being here and I don't have any recognition at all, and I can't see him until I'm already all the way out. But there's also a flip side to this, right? So like whenever you're attacking an angle, if you're planning to wide swing something, a lot of players get this wrong. There's a difference between wide swinging and just jiggling something. If you're jiggling something and trying to take like a 1v1 duel, a 1v1 tight angle duel, you want to be as far back as possible. So if I'm taking this like tight fight right here, I'll be back here and like just throwing pot shots at him. But if I'm trying to wide swing him, the closer you are to something, the faster it moves. It's like, imagine a car that's going 100 miles an hour, right? 100 miles an hour from 5,000 feet away will seem very slow. They'll be like moving, they'll be barely moving on your vision. But if it's up close, he'll like fly past you. And that's like the premise that's the premise behind Ferrari peaks, right? So like if he's like right here and I want to wide swing this and just like, you know, and then just full spray him, I'll get up close to the wall, which is why sometimes you see me get up close to the wall too, and then like full out swing like this. Because on his screen I'll be moving hella fast. Even though on my screen I'm moving the same speed. On my screen I'm moving the same speed because it's relative to me. But relative to him, this would be much faster. So wide swinging, always be as close as possible if you're wide swinging. So if you're wide swinging here, swing like that. But if you're just jiggling, you want to hit from here so that we have time to react. And that's the difference between that. That's why sometimes you see me backed up through here just to fight bench, because I want to see him before he can see me. Because I'll be able to see his head before he can see me. Because the only way that he ever sees my head is when the moment he jumps up, right? Otherwise he'll only see like the very top while I can see his full head. I don't know how to describe that. I guess a better angle to show this is con. Because a lot of people don't realize that like standing here will actually get you killed sometimes. if you know there's someone holding you from here, don't swing from here because you'll be moving very slow on their screen. Right? Be down here instead. You can still see the top of their head, which is fine, but you'll be moving a lot faster just because you're just that little bit closer to him. So, TLDR, because I know that was a lot of words. TLDR, when you're slow clearing something, be as far as possible. If you're fast clearing, be as close as possible. I don't know if that makes sense. So let's say there's an opera here, right? A lot of times there'll be an opera playing here. I don't know why you would ever try to slow clear an opera, but let's just say that, like, let's pretend that he's looking at rat hole and you know that, right? You would be clearing from back here because you'd see him pretty soon. You'd see him as fast as possible. But if you know that he's opping and he's holding like this angle, I'd be coming up close here and just going as fast as possible. So yeah, slow clear, be as far back as possible. Fast clear, be as close as possible. If you want the best of both worlds, go middle, go on the middle ground. But usually that's not really a good idea because you want to either have the best of something and use that niche, or not have it at all. So you either want to be super fast or you want to have that angle advantage. You don't want to have in between because now you're giving up angle advantage and you're giving up your speed. So never peek from the middle of something, either super close or super far. I don't know if any of that makes sense. That's just generally how you attack angles. So if I'm slow clearing, let's say I'm slow clearing A. Here's an example. I come up the ramp. So I'm slow clearing everything, okay? So if I'm slow clearing, I want to be as far as possible, right? So starting from here, I'm gonna assume that there's someone either holding here or holding here. So if I'm slow clearing this, I jiggle it. It's clear, jiggle, clear, and then walk out. So now I have angle advantage. So anyone close to this wall, I'll see them before they see me because I'm actually farther. Like this is the wall that I'm peeking from. This is the pivot point. So I'm farther from this pivot point than they are in relative distance. So I'm just gonna be holding from here. I'm gonna see him first, and I'm gonna be able to take that shot, especially if they push up to this corner. So that's why the only time that anyone would ever play here is if they're expecting to catch you off guard, because they lose this fight every time, by the way, if you're slow clearing it. So you slow clear this, you'll see them first, and then now that we have cleared all of this, the next angle that we're attacking is this one, right? This pivot point. So we want to be as far from that as possible. So I want to back up again and start over and make sure that there's no one stairs, and then come close, be as far as possible. Use a ledge jump trick, right? So like right here, you can ledge jump, and then far again. And now I've given myself as much advantage as I can. So now I'm just holding from here, and this angle right here, you actually see him before he sees you. So right here, you'll see him, and you keep going, and you see everything. Everything is gonna be clear, right? You're just gonna hope that there's no one sandwiched, because this is where like crossfires start happening. So honestly, there's not really much you can do here. Just hope that they're not there. Or if you have a teammate in palace, then you hope he clears it for you, because there's nothing you can do, because if you swing out here and try to clear this, you're gonna get shot from jungle. So if you're coming out ramp, never go into the middle. So you want to hug this. Now you're clearing everything. And now from right here, you're gonna have to fast speed. So that's a whole different story. But yeah, that's how you clear things. Yeah, clearing spaces. That's why I hate when people call it angles, because it's really spaces over angles. It's more spaces than angles, because a lot of these things aren't even actually angles. I guess like technically they are, but it's really just one big giant space that you have to clear. So you want to follow the perimeter every time if you're clearing something. Because now there's also an added bonus to this, right? You don't have to move your mouse as much. So imagine if I had to clear default and under balk. If I'm holding from all the way back here, like I'm as far back as possible, not only do I have angle advantage, but I also have the added bonus of not being spotted from other angles, right? I have the bonus advantage of not being spotted from other angles, and I also don't have to move my mouse as much. This is how you retain good crosshair placement, because the more you move, the more errors you're gonna have. So this is how you get good crosshair placement, is also your positioning. And then look at that. So you see how little I have to move? Instead, if I were to come up through the center of the site, I have to go here and I have to flip 180. Or I'd come up through here, I have to go here and then flip 90 degrees. Instead of like a small like 30-degree window. So I guess this guide was more positioning, movement, and crosshair placement. Or not crosshair placement, actually. Crosshair placement is a whole different story, but this is more positioning and movement. So this works for everything. Any open space, always take it from the perimeter. Even if you're trying to fast clear something, that's only if you have to, right? So like right here, there's no way I can ever like come back towards here. That would be so inefficient to come back here and clear it like that. So I just fast peek that. This works for anything. If there's an opera here, you fast peek this. If there's no opera here, you still follow the corner, so you give yourself as much advantage as possible. There's probably more nuances to this, honestly. But it's kind of hard to show you without actual targets. Here, actually, I have an idea. All right, this is how I'll show you better. Positioning and movement. We're going to play a deathmatch.
Let's roll.
I should probably post this thing on Twitter and then get rid of it. Because I'm getting OCD. Getting some OCD, dude. And it's not processing still. Why? Why is it not processing? Gotta try it one more time. Okay. Angle clearing. What can I buy? Okay. Alright. So I always stick to the farthest perimeter. Watch how I play. I'm always going to be as far as possible as from the angle. That way it gives me as much advantage, right? So I know this guy's sight. I'm backed all the way up. Even as I'm coming up ramp, I'm still backed all the way up. Honestly, that one's just an open space. It doesn't matter. So again, come over here. I'm backed all the way to this back wall, and I'm swinging upwards. Back upwards, and then back down. I'm still following the bottom edge, and I'll always see them before they see me. Actually, I guess that's dependent on the angle. I guess that's dependent on which angle you're fighting, but that's generally the gist, right? You'll always see as much of them as possible. As soon as possible. So that's why I always clear from the perimeter. I always follow the edge of the map. I'm following the edge, following the edge. Okay, I just didn't react because I was too busy talking. See? That guy didn't even have time to react because I was all the way up on the edge and he didn't see. There you go. All the way up on the edge. And it's also good for crosshair placement too, but that's a whole different thing that I'll talk about next time. I'll talk about crosshair placement next time, but this helps crosshair placement as well because you don't have to move your hand as much. So, all the way back. I guess here doesn't really matter. Oh, okay. Following the edge. Fast peeking here because it's a forced close angle. The map will force you to play close angles sometimes, which is why learning how to fast peek is also a thing. So like right here, you play close to this box because there's no way they can ever back up to this. If you back up to this, you'll know that there's two here. There's two angles you have to fight all at once. So if you play close to this box, you can single out these angles, which is why I'm doing that. And what this ends up doing, so that means I have to fast peek every time. So if you play close to something, that's like all game sense at that point. You just have to know when the good timing to peek is. I don't know if any of this makes sense.
Fuck you.
But yeah, that's just a general guide to positioning and movement. Follow the edge of the map. If you have a forced close angle, swing it as fast as possible. Don't walk. Do not walk close angles. I swear I see this way too often, even in high elo. Even in high elo, I always see that. There's always gonna be times where I see that happen, where people just walk the close angles, and I will never understand why. It boggles my mind every single time. Cause like you're already giving up angle advantage, and you're also like going as slow as possible. So you're giving them all the time in the world to react to you. So if you're close angles, you always go as fast as possible. Don't worry about noise. Noise mitigation is something else. That's called noise mitigation. Comes with map awareness. That's a whole different topic. So we'll talk about that next time. But just don't worry about it for now. The way you take angles is much more important than any type of map awareness that you have. Because a lot of the times people will just do random things, especially in ranked play. A lot of people do random things, so map awareness goes out the window anyway. Only against super good players will map awareness really matter a lot, you know? So let's say I'm peeking. Oh, man, for fuck's sake, there's so many people I can't show it. So right here, let's say I want to catch this guy T-spawn off guard. I'm gonna go as close as, or I guess like a good trick for this is also just pop up. That way it's as fast as possible. But let's pretend this is a close angle. I would swing it as fast as possible. So right here, following the edge, going all the way down, following the edge. Pretty much as long as you're able to react in time, you'll never lose an angular time. Unless your crosshair placement's really bad. Oh. So I'm following the edge. Oh my god, that was horrible. What? Following the edge. Following this edge because I'm fighting this angle over here. This is the pivot. Oh my god, how am I not killing him? How am I not killing any of them? Dude! Okay, that's fine. So again, I'm following the edge. This is how you practice this. One is how you practice it, and I'm also just showing the concept. So this is what I just do constantly. Yeah, probably. So you just follow the edge, force another sick bastard. So since this is a close angle, I would just wide swing this as fast as possible. You see how fast that is? Like there's no way they'd be able to react if it's that close. Like unless if you're super bad and you miss, you would never lose that duel. And unless if I'm super, yeah, see, like it's actually just straight up a battle of who has better angles. So if I'm as far as possible, unless if my aim's really bad, then I'll never lose that duel. Unless I have a moment of bad aim, if you have angle advantage, you can never lose. And that's just how you retain angle advantage, is you always come up the edge. So I'm coming with the edge. See, they don't even have time to react, but I can react to them fully before they even have a chance to react. I just see them first. Hey, just keep doing that. And eventually this type of thing will become like second nature to you. You'll always be just constantly doing this second nature. You see, I'm just following that. But yeah, that's just how you do it. And that's why when you never see me fighting cat, there's a lot of clips of me playing cat already, right? So you can also watch those. So you see, whenever I peek top mid, I'm always peeking from along this wall. Like, there's never a time where I'll be swinging close because I really want that angle advantage, especially for this fight. Where like most of the time they won't be standing here where you can just Ferrari them. So I'm always along this edge, standing here. And you see a lot of times I'm just tucked against this wall. And same thing when I'm going up cat from T-spawn, right? Okay, how do I show that to get there first? I'll show that later, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah. There's your positioning tutorial. And that's just like the general rule. Obviously there's maps where like there's gonna be places where you can where there's like nuances to it, and there's places you can stand that just give you an advantage even though it breaks all conventional rules of positioning. And that's just because of the way the map is designed. It's kind of cancer that way. But it's fine though. But those are just like, that's just game knowledge instead of actual like positioning knowledge. But that's just the fundamentals of positioning. So to give a quick rundown, I guess we can open up Paint. Open up Paint. And this is TLDR. Okay. This TLDR. So let's pretend that this is the angle. This is the wall, right? Right here's the wall. And let's say this is the bad guy, and then this is you. Oh wait, how do I make this? There you go. There's another wall. And this is you. This is where you want to be standing. Cause you see it, let's say that this is his right here. In the center of his body is his eyes. And this is your eyes. That's all you can see. And you can already see the edge of him. Do you see how that works? That's just how conceptually this works. You're farther from the pivot point than he is. So that's how it works. So TLDR, always be as far. So this is the angle you're fighting. Always be as far from it as you can. As far from it as you can. Always be as far from it as you can. There you go. Unless if it's unavoidable. If it's unavoidable, like let's say he has an op, or let's say like the wall was like this, where it's like really tight, and you're forced to fight him close, then you'd want to swing as fast as possible. As perpendicularly as possible too. Don't go straight, because on his screen you'll be moving very minimally. So like this is like POV, right? So like let's say this is you, and this is you coming out of the angle. If you were to take this path right here, where you just go like that, you move. This is like how much movement you'd have. That's it. You go from here to here on his screen, and then that's it. But like, yeah, you moved all this distance, but you move barely on his screen. Draw the AK. No, I'm not gonna even try. Dude, I'm not that much of an artist. But yeah, if you're to move perpendicularly, imagine how far you'd move. You'd be like way over here. And now his crosshair, let's say this is his crosshair, instead of just moving it this small distance, he has to move like that. So that's why he'd have to move it over here instead of just here. So that's why when you're fast peeking someone, you always want to peek this way and this way. I guess, and this applies to like being far too. This applies to being far, being close, doesn't matter. That's just how you always peek someone. You peek like that instead of like this. So with that being said, when you peek someone, never hold W. Always hold A or D. Oh, it's backwards. Fuck. Switch that around. But yeah, you get the gist. Always hold A or D, one or the other. Never press any other key when you're peeking. If you press any other key while you're peeking, you're going to give yourself cancer. And that's just how you peek. And you can add crouch if you want. You don't have to. Obviously, remember to counter strafe, all that jazz. What else in positioning? I guess I'll add this tip in too. Never peek from a high place unless you Never peek from a high place unless you know that there's only like, unless you know that there's only one place you can take a duel from. So let's say you're on stairs in Mirage, and here's ramp, and then here's palace. And if you're peeking from top stairs, you have to either you know that there's only one guy palace, or you know that there's only one guy ramp. If there's a possibility that they can be in either place, never peek from top stairs, because what happens is that they can both see you. I think this is pretty obvious, but I guess it needs to be said. But never peek from top stairs, or like never peek from a high place unless you know that there's only one angle they can be at. Unless you pinpointed the angle that they're at, never peek from a high place. That is how you get shot randomly. So always take the low ground if you don't know where they are. And that's about it. Positioning and movement 101. It took a good like 20 minutes, but it's fine. I don't know how else to like. There's so many nuances to it though. So many like specific situations where things would change and you had to do things another way. But that is the beauty of Counter-Strike. That there are ways to master the. There are ways to know. I mean, there's things that you have to do to distinguish certain situations, so that way you're doing things as masterfully as possible. So there's no general rule to anything, but if I were to pinpoint general rules, this would be it. The way you peek, and the places you peek from. And also like small tips, like going up ladders, you move diagonally. Starting an air strafe, you don't press WS unless if you're B hopping sideways. Okay, does all of this make sense, dude?